Support WrestleTalk!
Donate on Patreon.
Did Roman Reigns shoot on Brock Lesnar on this week's Raw? I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen. Welcome to WrestleRamble. The short answer is no. The longer answer is no, but it was kind of, because it was probably most definitely worked. So let's just run through what happened.
Absolutely.
Roman Reigns comes out.
It'll allow me to find my notes.
Yes. It's that throughout the whole night, it's billed this confrontation between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar's going to be there. He's advertised for the show in advance, which is a pretty slimy promoter tactic for people who have paid to see Brock Lesnar in Las Vegas. If certain reasons for this not happening turn out to be true. But Roman Reigns comes out and he says, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Brock Lesnar has no-showed today's event. We don't know if that's real. If that's real, or WWE have done that as part of a storyline. In which case, you advertise the guy who you knew wasn't going to be there as part of a storyline, and he's one of the main draws. So that's a little bit slimy. That's bad promoter tactics in my book. You lied. But it did create a very engaging story. Roman Reigns went on to quite obviously say a script, but he said the script very well. And in that he was trying to make it seem like this was off the cuff, that he was going against the plan, that this was a shoot, but it was not a shoot, it was a worked shoot, brother. Which means you're saying things that are true, shoot, but it's been approved. And everyone's signed off on it. It's a work shoot.
Just make sure you don't work yourself into a work or shoot yourself into a shoot.
That's the worst thing, brother. God,
much love, HH.
I love the wrestling business sometimes when it gets so petty and weird and carny like this. And, you've got the thing of the guy who didn't show up is someone you advertised as well. It's just,
well, I like it. On that, mate, card's subject to change, brother.
Yes, brother.
We can always advertise these things, but sometimes the card is subject to change.
The crowd shot themselves into a work. Brother.
So, I loved this segment, and I thought about this promo after the fact. It was the one thing that really stuck with me from the show as I was coming into the studio, and I was like,
not this. You know what I'm doing?
Is that?
That is Kurt Angle getting sucker punched by Triple H.
I was going to say, that image of Kurt Angle being punched is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It's brilliant.
It's like a perfect capture.
Within 24 hours, Kurt Angle has become one of the most chore-like aspects of WWE to one of my favourite things.
It is, that photo is literally record scratch freeze frame. You're probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah. Let me just take you back a couple of Oh man!
But it's so I was just thinking about this promo because this promo was so good. Because I agree with you that
I'm doing this whole film in my head now that starts with that and it goes back to Kurt Angle at college, fooling around with Jason Jordan's mum. winning the gold, and then Stephanie.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably the reason, isn't it?
It's all that 2000 stuff is finally paying off. But yeah, so you are right. If they advertise Brock Lesnar for this show, and then for my money, I think Lesnar was at the show. I think he was backstage.
Oh well, reports say he wasn't, and the more confusing thing, or the more significant thing, is that's not uncommon. But for Paul Heyman not to be there either, is strange.
Okay, so here's my thoughts on this. If he's not there, it's even better. I wouldn't have Brock appear on Raw until Mania. I would continue to advertise him for shows and then not actually have him appear on those shows. And just have Roman Reigns keep coming out and saying, hey, this guy's once again not showed. And build, because it worked for Roman. People were booing the fact that Brock wasn't there, but cheering the fact that Roman was there. If you want to build Roman up as the babyface that people want to see, I would even, I said this yesterday on Twitter, I would even say things like, reveal that he's been dealing with UFC, announce that he's going to be going...
they mentioned UFC, didn't they?
Yeah, and talk about, just go into massive details about that. Get that WrestleMania 20 heat on him. Basically admit that he's leaving. And so that way the crowd might actually boo him at WrestleMania 34 because he's the guy that's leaving, and you want to see Roman Reigns beat the guy that's leaving so you can get the title back.
Yes, that is. I mean, that is. It definitely worked this week because
Yeah.
the crowd cheered him, and I got on board with Roman.
So on
and
board.
I was as dejected as anyone else was following the Elimination Chamber result. I was same old, same old. Here we go, Reigns versus Lesnar. I don't really care, and I didn't care for the whole night when they were promoting this face-off. But when it actually happened, it delivered. It made me want to see a match. That's what wrestling promos should do. Now, the one thing I would say to your point is, does that not make the WrestleMania main event predictable? If you build it all around Brock's... I know, but if you're saying Brock's going to leave, then that's almost... Like, we know in our little bubble, but the vast majority of wrestling fans who don't watch this sort of stuff on YouTube, they probably don't know that they can feel the result, but they don't know it for certain. So if you start saying outwardly on Raw, Brock's going to leave, then that's the way you could do it is build Brock up in a CM Punk heel kind of way.
Well, that's
I'm
what-
going to leave with the belt.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is the alternative is like people weren't sure if Punk was going to win at Money in the Bank 2011 because he was leaving.
But that turned him into a super baby face.
But they were telling a different story there because his story
Yeah.
was, I'm going to take this belt to Ring of Honor. I'm going to take it to New Japan. And wrestling fans are like, oh my God, that sounds absolutely amazing. I want to see this storyline. Whereas Brock's thing is just like, I'm just going to throw this belt in the trash. I don't want it.
I think you've got CM Punk's appeal completely wrong. That was definitely a part of it, but for me, and I think the vast majority of fans watching that angle, it wasn't CM Punk going to all these other companies and taking the belt round there. It was CM Punk screwing over WWE. Because
Yeah, but that's-
WWE is the heel here.
Yeah, but I think those two are intrinsically linked.
No, I think I want to see Punk hit WWE more than I want to see Punk hit for Ring of Honor, you know?
Yeah, but I think those two are very much linked. Like,
They're kind of
you're
linked.
right. That, like, I mean, part of the appeal is that Punk is trying to screw over WWE by taking their title and defending it elsewhere. Like, those two are very much.
But he doesn't
work
even
together.
have to defend it elsewhere. I was interested in that, but the real crux of the emotion was from,
Okay.
especially with how much I disliked WWE management at the time.
Yeah.
After the Nexus, Pepperidge Farm remembers.
But I think if you have Roman. Or Brock just doing these interviews, doing these outside interviews. Like, don't even do it with WWE.com. Do it with
ESPN.
like ESPN or something like that. Where it's like, yeah, I'm going back to UFC. We're going to arrange these fights, and I'm going to be I'm not really bothered about this title. I'm just going to throw it in the trash once I beat Roman at WrestleMania, and try and play him up as like this anti-WWE guy. This guy who's just like, I think wrestling is stupid. And even then, when you actually come around to booking the match, book the Brock Lesnar that we sort of saw when he came back in 2013. This Brock Lesnar that was like, don't bother trying this wrestling nonsense on me because this is all fake and phony and I'm a legit fighter. Do that, but then have Roman completely so Brock's in on the whole thing and then starts selling for Roman like an absolute beast.
Wrestle it like a shoot fight.
Yeah.
Like that John Cena Extreme Rules?
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, do that. But you think that the SummerSlam one?
No,
You
Lesnar's
think
first match
was the
back
Extreme
was
Rules.
Extreme Rules.
Yeah, I thought you meant the Cena
Suplex City
Suplex-
was
SummerSlam.
yeah.
But it wasn't the debut of Suplex City Bitch, which was WrestleMania 31.
Oh.
So
Oh, really? It took that long?
We're nearing the 4-year anniversary of
It
it.
flies by. I think this is good. This is a good way to package everyone. I can't see WWE and UFC kind of cross promoting each other because either Brock's leaving and he goes to UFC, in which case WWE has built up Brock Lesnar's return to the UFC on their main show of the year for a month, or Brock Lesnar doesn't go to UFC and UFC are like, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that cool? Is that legal?
Well, I was going to say, like, there are plenty of like cogs in my fantasy booking warfare scenario. There are many plates that need to be spun and many cogs within a machine that probably couldn't actually happen in real life. But like from a fan perspective,
Yeah.
and like in my wildest dreams, I'm just like, this would be a really great storyline because this helps get Roman over as a babyface, as the guy who's fighting for this company and is fighting for wrestling fans, not fans of mixed martial arts and things like that. Like, they've tried everything else with Roman. We've tried to make him a super babyface. That didn't work. We've tried making him the hero of America. That sort of worked for a bit. Now, like, let's have him as the guy of the people. Like, it could work.
I'm there with you, and I was trying to imagine it in my head, and I was like, Roman comes out for WrestleMania, but then I heard Michael Cole defending WWE. He's threatening to take our championship,
And
just like they did,
turn
how
against
everyone
him.
went against Punk.
Yeah, you turn against him then.
Shut up, Jerry Lawler.
It's the big dog. Shut up, Michael Cole. I
Yeah.
don't want to see him now.
Brock, screw him off, Brock. So that's what could happen, in the future. But the actual promo itself, props to Roman, because this was a very fiery, intense promo. I thought he did it it was one of his best promos he's ever done.
I was going to say this and his last promo he cut on Cena before their match at No Mercy last year, which was the show where Cena wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it was the promo where he played Cena cutting that promo on Rock, where Rock wasn't there. And he mimicked everything that Cena did in that promo. And he even did like the flicking of the mic. It was so awesome. And it made Roman look like such a badass. And much better than the weeks previous, where John Cena made him look like a complete doofus. So, like, those two promos is when Roman is doing these work shoot promos, is when he's at his best.
And showing that fire and being a badass. It's like, this clearly is the way to... If you're not going to turn Roman heel, this is clearly the way you need to present him. Why haven't you done this on a consistent basis for the last 3 years? Going back to that suffering succotash. Because that's what... that's the moment when people started to sour on Roman.
It's because they wanted him to be John Cena. Like, it's WWE trying to get out of the status quo. Like, John Cena had at that point had been on top for what felt like 20 years. I mean, it was like 10 years plus or whatever it was. And they were like, oh man, we haven't got Cena anymore, but we still need Cena. Let's just make Roman the new Cena. Let's just make him do everything that Cena does, and we can just like heat transference, as you once coined the term, and we'll just carry it over into Cena. But that didn't work for Roman. We liked Roman when he was the badass of the Shield, when he was just this unstoppable Samoan machine.
Well, we'll see what happens next week with the build, but for now, let's go back to the start of Raw.
Haha, it's a Raw review, looking jacked, man.
Raw kicked off with the women's division.
We almost had our own record scratch. You probably wonder how we got here.
Yeah. What? This is a shame, because we were talking about Raw and how good their women's division. They had like 3 distinct, uniquely engaging and intriguing storylines going at one time. There were multiple segments on the show for the women's division. Characters were being fleshed out. Storylines were being developed. Tensions were being, tensioned. And here we are back to pre-Royal Rumble, where everyone is in one segment. For no reason, alliances are reformed. So Alexa Bliss and Mickie James came out first off, not really explaining why Mickie James is with Alexa Bliss after the Elimination Chamber Uneasy Alliance storyline.
Pre-Elimination Chamber, pre-Rumble. Like, there was just they're now friends again. And, like, Mickie wasn't standing behind her being like, oh, I'm about to stamp you in the back. I'm not here because we are friends. I'm here because we've got this sort of alliance. She was there being like, I'm your muscle.
Yeah.
And we're the bestest of friends now.
It was some... I hate this about WWE when they do it. And it's just, we're going to treat our viewers like idiots, so... Here it is 1 week. Just accept it. It's exactly what they did with Alexa and Nia Jax.
I was going to say the same thing.
When they scrapped all of their feud, and when Nia finally turned on Alexa, suddenly they're best friends the next week. It is infuriating, because it says to us, well, why should we care about anything that happens if it doesn't continue on to next week?
Completely agree. Yeah.
So,
it was a real shame, because it was a good promo by Alexa again. And I really, really like Alexa Bliss, but I just couldn't get over this. 10th best wrestler in the world. I just couldn't get over this Mickie James alliance thing. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Then Nia Jax came out.
No, Asuka came out.
Asuka came out. Sorry, I just didn't care really about this segment.
Although Bliss had some money moments in this, and again, do you know what she's really great at? She's great at shutting down what chants. She's so good at shutting those down, and she's always got a unique way of doing it that the crowd don't see coming. And
duly noted.
This week she was getting the what treatment, so she was like, oh, can you not understand Asuka? Maybe I'll do this in a language you can understand. And then just started speaking very slowly and very purposely, like Brits would when they used to go to Spain.
My parents on holiday, when
exactly.
they want to talk to someone who can speak English quite well but is Spanish.
Yeah,
they just yell at them.
Yeah, exactly.
Not yell at them meanly, but just say the same sentence.
Where is the taxi rank?
Exactly
yes,
like that.
That's exactly it. So I thought this was a really great moment for Bliss, and it got some legit heel heat on her, which was I thought it was wonderful.
So Asuka comes out. Nia Jax then comes out. And Alexa's putting over how it should be Nia Jax going to WrestleMania, not Asuka. So I didn't know how that might play into things later. And then all of a sudden it was Alexa, Mickie James, Nia Jax versus Asuka, Bayley and Sasha Banks.
Yeah, Bayley and Banks just running down together, which played...
Oh, that was so annoying as well.
I was going to say, but that sort of plays into the match. But we'll okay. So it's as I said, it sort of played into the match.
Well, it definitely did play into the match. That was the story of them, and during the match, there was like a moment when Bayley really hardly tagged Sasha Banks in, almost a chop across the chest. And later, when Sasha was going for the hot tag, Bayley hopped off the apron and walked away. That's great. That furthers what happened at Elimination Chamber. But then why did they run out together in the first place?
Well, no, even more to that. So Bayley jumps off the apron, like, to avoid the hot tag. That's where you set up Banks has been screwed. She's left in a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 scenario, and then Banks gets beat. But no, Banks just tags in Asuka. Asuka runs wild. Bayley then runs back in to attack Alexa Bliss. And so actually, what you did is you didn't screw your team. You didn't screw Alexa. You didn't screw Sasha Banks. You won, and everyone's a winner. Like, her actions created no consequences. So that's really terrible storytelling.
There was a shot at the end where Sasha Banks was by the barricade on the ground, kind of looking at Bayley sadly. But I just don't know what story they're trying to tell here. It's not good. And it's just one that's been going on for frickin' ever.
Yep.
Sasha Banks and Bayley. You don't need a long drawn out thing anymore. It's been brewing. The beans are now off. I've had them on like number 1 hob setting since 2014, and now they've just grown mold on them. I just need a quick turn in a new can of beans.
Yeah, this was not great. Asuka won with, although I did like Asuka's combination knee bar and arm bar thing. That was pretty wicked.
Asuka's great.
And Mickie James tagged out. Maybe that's why Mickie James is teaming with Alexa Bliss again, because they just need someone who can take pinfalls and tap out losses.
Can't beat Nia, can't beat Alexa.
Exactly. So you'd put Mickie with her, so Mickie can just take all the losses.
In double denim as well.
Double denim.
John Cena then came out next, and He was continuing the storyline that I've always been a fan of, regardless of what Luke is trying to push as fake news. And he's dejected. He lost at Elimination Chamber. He won't get his WrestleMania match, but now he's figured out how he's going to get a WrestleMania one. He's going to challenge The Undertaker. And this got a huge pop.
Massive.
Like, everyone was going crazy for it. Yes, Chance. Cena looked awesome. He was like, yes, doing some muscle things with his muscles. And that all looked great. And then he goes, but that can't happen.
Mm-hmm. I've been told that can't happen.
Yeah.
So I'm going to SmackDown Live and I'm going to find my opportunities there. It was a really interesting promo that, for my money, confirms that it is Cena Undertaker at WrestleMania. But
For sure.
At this point, it has to be. Like, you and I were talking about this just before we came in here. If it isn't Cena Undertaker, because there's a new rumor coming out that came out today that it's going to be Cena Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. And even on SmackDown, they were teasing that it was going to be Cena Nakamura at WrestleMania. But at this point, it has to be Cena Undertaker, because anything that is announced that isn't that is going to feel lesser than Cena Undertaker. If it's not happening, if it's not Cena Undertaker at Mania, don't mention it. Don't never bring it up.
It's Chekhov's gun, which is the storytelling rule where if you show a gun on a mantelpiece in Act 1, in Act 3 that gun has to be fired. Set up and pay off.
Which we know WWE are so good at doing.
But this Undertaker John Cena match has been rumoured since about mid-December. Yeah. And, people say, a lot of different websites are saying this is it. Reliable websites for ages. So, yeah, it's got to be, right?
It has to be at this point.
The only thing where it could be Rey Mysterio or whatever is if there is something if there's a big shake-up on the way of the WrestleMania card, being in the form of either Roman Reigns steroid accusations, that's, Braun Strowman's weirdly not got a match yet or a program.
He's got Elias.
Yeah, of course, that's a big money feud for the biggest show of the year. But he seems to be kept by himself, possibly to be used if things have to get changed around. So yeah, it's interesting. But I really enjoyed this segment, and like you, this confirms it's John Cena Undertaker for me.
Do you know what I think Braun's going to get at WrestleMania? He is going to have a salad steel cage match against Elias, and there are going to be...
salad?
Yeah, to Bruce Pritchard, Joey. Bruce Pritchard, the solid steel cage.
Oh, okay.
But it's going to be a solid steel cage match, but there are going to be guitars strung up all around it, so it's also a guitar match. So this is going to be wanton destruction and Braun throwing Elias around.
And one double bass.
Bass, exactly. That's what. That's my bold prediction for Braun at WrestleMania.
Get a full-on string quartet up there. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Next up, we had
Okay, so I don't know what this was supposed to be. Was it meant to be Bray versus Rhino and Heath Slater, or just Bray versus Slater, or Bray versus Rhino?
You're probably wondering how I got here. This is... it was meant to be Bray Wyatt versus Heath Slater.
Okay.
But, yeah, they didn't really make a thing of that. It didn't matter because Bray Wyatt just came in, beat up Slater, beat up Rhino, and then he blamed Matt Hardy for making him do this and challenged him to another match.
This feud must continue.
The Great War is far from over.
Mm-hmm. It's just getting started.
Oh my god! Like, I don't know why they keep running dead programs into the ground. It's obviously not connecting. It's obviously not getting over. Why continue with it?
Well, I know. I feel like I sound like I'm defending WWE here, and I'm not. But I'm wondering if, from their perspective, if they sat down and were like, "This feud isn't working," but if we just stop this feud, what are we going to do with Bray and what are we going to do with Matt? Like, what program do you put them in if they're not together?
Take them off TV. Do like something creative and not lazy and inventive. Skits outside of matches. They don't have to be wrestling.
But what programs do you put them in? Like, who are you feuding Matt with if not with Bray?
I don't know. But like, I haven't thought about it. I'm sure someone whose full-time job it is to come up with storylines for WWE can come up with one other feud for both of those men.
You'd think, wouldn't you?
If not, just maybe just character pieces where they don't have to feud with anyone. They just do skits by themselves. Breezango aren't feuding with anyone. They're one of the most engaging things with Fashion Files.
Yeah, but that's not on TV.
But it should be on TV! I saw a I can't remember who tweeted it, but it was Glenn Anderson, Mike Rome, the backstage interviewer guy.
Not Tom Phillips.
Not Todd, no. Bailey, and they were just talking, and then Broken Matt came in from out of nowhere and just started cutting a promo on the camera, seemingly organically, like he'd just seen that they were filming something on Bray Wyatt. And it was just Matt doing what Matt does. And I thought, oh my God, this is what I like about Matt Hardy. And Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows were hilarious behind him. Like Matt Hardy was saying, and it's going to be delightful, as he does. And then you can hear Carl Anderson from behind him, chuck in some super as well for me. Just brilliant stuff. Like, put them with Galant. I don't know. There's so many things you could do. Make them a tag team. There you go.
That was going to be my answer, was make them a tag team. That's what I wish they'd done all along, was put them together as this odd couple tag team.
So, now we get on to the good stuff. This was really, really good. The Miz came out, and he said in 62 days... he will become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. I believe that's in terms of combined reigns.
Well, it would be, because the Honky Tonk Man currently holds like the longest
single reign. Yeah. And Miz cut a great promo, so much fire. He was talking about how he doesn't have any merchandise, how he should be main event in WrestleMania. Even though he shouldn't be main event in WrestleMania, he's not at that star level. I want everyone to be saying, I'm the best, I should be at the top. Like, that's how, and you should have all those egos clashing, and then you decide who's the best by having matches.
And it spun off from a comment that he made on Twitter on Sunday when he was driving into or it might have been on Saturday when he was driving into Las Vegas, and the big poster for Elimination Chamber didn't feature The Miz. In fact, actually, someone tweeted me like a poster from the event that had Dean Ambrose on the poster. But then they were like, it's a bit misleading, isn't it? Because Ambrose is on the poster. And I was like, it's probably just an old promotional image. But that does raise the question, why not use a new promotional image?
Why not bring in Brock Lesnar?
Yeah, but The Miz was like, what do I have to do to get on the poster? And they had that money line was just like, where's my merchandise? Go to the merchandise store and see if you can see one.
Yeah, I never really thought about it. You don't see any Miz merchandise.
It was so great, and like I mean, I think he's a great promo anyway. You and I have said in the past that it's a great promo, but it never makes you invested in his matches. But this one actually did, because this is where he was talking about how, like, I've done this, I'm the A-lister, I've got my own TV show, I've got this beautiful pregnant wife at home, and then he said, so I asked Kurt Angle what I'm going to have at WrestleMania, and he said that I might have a match. Might. And then he goes on this tirade about might. I'm the Intercontinental Champion. Oh, it's wonderful. It really got me invested in him.
He's a unique one, because this is, he's a great performer. I think we can all agree on that. But what actually is this? To me, this was a babyface promo. This is someone I get excited for, because they're showing so much passion and fire about something they love. So, which is themselves. But this didn't come off as a heel promo for me. I thought it was great. Yeah, shades of great. Yeah, this is a good thing.
I liked it.
But then, even better, Monday Night Rollins came out.
How hot is Rollins at the moment?
Oh, he's so hot right now.
It's so hot right now.
Oh my God, look, he is on fire.
That Hansel's so hot
Burn
right
it
now.
down.
But like, the crowd was so into Rollins. It's like a massive pop when he came out.
Because I didn't think he did. Obviously, he was in the chamber for a long time, but it didn't feel as big as the Raw episode leading into it. Here, it felt like chamber didn't happen. It was straight from Raw into Raw. Yeah. It was so good, and they had a really good match. I love this match.
Great.
This is awesome chant going at one point from the crowd. Loads of near falls. That superplex into the
Falcon Arrow.
Falcon Arrow. I was watching it in a replay, and I thought, to land on your back from the top turnbuckle, then to roll over and pick him. My God, he's talented.
He's very, very good.
And then the cherry on top. He takes out the Miz Taraj with a dive, which, I think he overdoes the dives, but that was a cool dive. A huge frog splash. When Miz goes down and he's 2/3 of the way across the ring, I thought, no, you're going to the wrong turnbuckle there, mate.
Yeah.
But he hits this incredible frog splash, and the crowd are going crazy, and he won with the frog splash, which is awesome, because I love it when people have many different moves they can win with.
Absolutely.
I love this match. Loved it.
Yeah. But this then set up my overall feelings of Raw, which was a lot of things were a tale of two halves. Loved the Alexa Bliss promo, did not like the resulting tag match. Really liked the start of the Rousey segment, did not like the end of the Rousey segment. Loved this match, did not like what followed it. Which was, and I kind of like this bit here, which when as Seth Rollins is celebrating, this is WWE's new thing now, is that the next match has to start, so the other person has to come out during the other person's celebration.
I like it.
I like it too. It's their new thing they like to do.
Chop blocks.
With chop blocks. Finn Balor comes out doing his big full entrance, and he's just got this smarmy look on his face, because Seth Rollins had been told that he might be in the Intercontinental Championship match. Turns out that Finn Balor has also told that he might be in there, so Balor comes out all smug. Rollins looks so pissed off, because he's like, you mother effer, like, this is my moment. I won the match, and you've just come out here for seemingly no reason. And then Balor has a match with Miz. This is where I started to dislike the segment, because A, why didn't you bring Gil Anderson with you? And B, Finn Balor sold for the entire match. I'm like, Miz just went through this grueling ordeal. I know someone said to me, it was like, Miz Taraj attacked him. I was like, barely attacked him. It's not like he had 5 skull-crushing finales hit on him. Curtis Axel hit one move. It's not like there was this epic beatdown. And yeah, Balor just sold for the whole thing. And I'm just like, it made Balor look like a complete chump. Yeah. Especially after that incredible moment where he made his entrance during Rollins' celebration. Now he just looks like a chump that can't beat The Miz, even though The Miz is... It was the opposite of John Cena versus Seth Rollins last week, where Cena was the fresh man, and Seth Rollins, who had the grueling match, was the weak one. And I suppose when you put the heel in Miz's position, then it doesn't really... It's psychology-wise, it kind of goes off a little bit.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It was from this great Rollins-Balor, or the Rollins-Miz match, and then that great Rollins-Balor stare-down, which had so much context that I kind of forgot about with the Universal Championship match back at all those SummerSlams ago. And then it just transitioned into this psychologically backwards match of the heel having wrestled not just like a 5-minute, 10-minute easy thing, but a 20-25 minute competitive match with Rollins that he lost, that Miz lost, and then he has to face Balor. And like you said, it was a paltry beatdown from the Miztourage. So yeah, it didn't help. It made Balor look like an absolute gimp, I thought. And the crowd reactions showed it because they were not into this.
I've written here, Miz seems fresher than Balor. Because Miz was like on his feet and he was doing moves and he looked like he hadn't been through a match because he can't sell the match because he has to be on offense. It really didn't work for me. What did work for me, though, is that I don't often pay attention to these things. But you know at the bar when they do like upcoming shows?
Sure.
Like, do like, hey, SmackDown is here, then on Wednesday we're going to be here, then Thursday, and then, NXT. One of the shows was emanating from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kalamazoo.
I didn't really see a lot of the rest of this match because I was Googling Kalamazoo.
It's a fun word to say, a fun word to see.
That's what I thought. I was like, Kalamazoo, and I was like, have I made this up? Did I because I watched the show quite early in the morning. Maybe my cup of tea hadn't really kicked in. I was like, maybe it wasn't called Kalamazoo. I'm just going to Google whether or not that was a real place. Turns out it is.
Any Kalamazoo facts?
No, I was just amazed by the name. But what a wonderful! If we have any viewers out there in Kalamazoo, you possibly live in the coolest city name ever.
All you Kalamazoonians,
Kalamazonians?
How do you say it again?
Kalamazonians.
Kalamazaniacs.
Kalamazaniacs. That's going to be our tag team.
So maybe. So Rollins, after this, is interviewed backstage. He's watching the monitor at a stupid angle, and he says he wants Miz at WrestleMania for the IC title.
I don't think we said Balor won.
Oh yeah, who cares? So it looks like it's going to be this 3-way between them, which we kind of thought. Which, man, if Miz is that many days, WrestleMania's like what, 30-something days away? Miz needs another 10 on top of that, I think, to be this longest reigning champion. So we'll see.
Well, he's got a few more reigns in him yet. At one point in this match, Coach said that what he likes about The Miz is that he doesn't complain about things. And Michael Cole was like, did you miss the promo that he said at the start of this match?
Come on, Coach.
Come on, Coachman.
Next up was the Reigns-Lesnar segment, or just the Reigns segment as it turned out to be, so we've already done that.
Love that.
We had a Braun Strowman backstage promo with some text on the screen and some music puns. So he's going to make a symphony of destruction against Elias. It's going to be a smash hit.
Yeah. Corey Graves absolutely loved this. Someone tweeted me that I hadn't picked up, but Corey Graves often makes references to Pantera when talking about Braun Strowman, and now Braun Strowman's there making references to Megadeth, and Corey Graves even used the lyrics from Megadeth's Symphony of Destruction during his match.
Corey Graves is good.
Yeah.
Then we had the same Black History Month promo that I've seen about 20 times already.
Yeah, they do it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's over now, right?
No, there was stuff on SmackDown.
Yeah, but next month.
No
more of the same promo, which is fun. The Bar beating Titus Worldwide in a randomly thrown together 2 out of 3 Falls match. What's that word?
Lads.
Is that hell?
Yes.
So Luca's just read an effing L, lads.
Just because when the Bar came out and then it was Titus Worldwide, I literally threw my head back and I was like, effing L, lads. Like, are we doing this again? And then turns out it's a 2 out of 3 Falls match.
We're doing it 3 times. Well, 2 times in the end.
Yeah.
The story behind this was after the Bar successfully retained at the Chamber. Titus Worldwide called him out on Twitter and said, well, we've beaten you 3 times, or we've beaten you 2 times already. So then we made a 2 out of 3 Falls match, and yeah, it was fun.
It was a match.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I quite liked Sheamus's brogue kick right out of the gate. Yeah. That was the first pin over with, and the way they celebrated. I was
about to say that was the best thing in the match was them celebrating like they just won the World Cup.
Sheamus and Cesaro looked like they were having fun here.
Oh god, it was wonderful. Like they were just saying, hugging each other. It was really, really great. But the match was good fun. Yeah,
I thought Apollo looked really good. I thought he did some just crazily impressive stuff.
Yeah.
That stand-in shooting star that he does is just incredible. But the Bar won a clean sweep.
Yes, that's the two out of 3 fall matches we've had this year. Both have been clean sweeps. Gotta wonder if I think someone might tweet me this actually, that the WWE are going to have a 2 out of 3 falls match at WrestleMania, trying to build you up to expect it to go the clean sweep again, and that's where they pull out the shock.
Potentially.
Third fall.
Why are they all tag teams, though? I don't know. So the Bar cut a promo afterwards saying we've beaten everyone there is, which I don't know where they go from here. Obviously, there's the Revival, there's Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, but none of them are like real. They're all kind of on the heel spectrum of things.
My prediction: Authors of Pain.
It's a bit too.
But the way
don't usually call up teams this close to Mania.
I agree, they don't. But the way that this promo was structured was that like we've beaten every single team there is. So like the way they set this promo up was that there are no other challengers for them, which means they have to do a debut in order to be a new team for them to beat. So either it's Authors of Pain or maybe even War Machine.
Maybe
because War Machine aren't in the Dusty Tag Team Classic.
That is interesting. I think we'll be disappointed, and it's someone who's already on Raw.
Yeah. Oh yeah, probably.
Or the Hardys, don't know. But I guess they beat them last year.
Matt and Bray.
Madam Bray. Oh, I hope so. Next up, Jarius J.J. Robertson was revealed as the recipient of the Warrior Award. What a badass that kid is.
What a badass indeed.
You've seen his thing with The Miz.
Yeah.
It makes me smile so much. Braun Strowman versus Elias was next. Braun Strowman won via DQ. Elias is singing a song because they're in LA, and he's singing about, or Anaheim, wasn't it?
Anaheim, California.
Yeah, California. And he's singing a song about noise pollution and all that stuff. And he just takes a swipe at Corey Graves, saying, like everything out of Corey Graves' mouth.
So good.
And then Corey just says, quick as a whip on commentary, I'll never stop talking again. Just Corey Graves is...
Yeah, I mean,
he's cool, but his hair is ridiculous.
I was about to say, I wish he hadn't dyed his hair blonde because it's not 1991 and you are not Vanilla Ice, but hey, I like him.
It's getting taller.
It is! On SmackDown, I couldn't believe
it was so tall on SmackDown. I'm glad you thought this.
It was ginormous.
It was taller on SmackDown than it was on Raw.
It really was.
They're only a day apart. Weird.
It was ginormous.
So Booker T, I reread that quote, when he challenged him.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to, next time I see him, you see that little bouffant hairdo of his? I'm going to rough it up for him. Maybe he meant like rough it up is ghetto speak for making it nice and pointier.
Maybe.
So we don't know. Elias sung his song again, and then Braun came out, interrupting the song, beat Elias up a lot. Elias got a fire extinguisher out from underneath the ring and sprayed it in Braun's eyes.
Yeah, he eventually got there.
Yeah. Which was cool. Braun was blinded, but he was still kind of looking for Elias, and he chased him up the ramp, got Elias, was going to slam him through the table at one point. That didn't work. And then they went to the back. And a lot of people called me out on my Raw review for not pointing out that epic moment when a limo pulled up and Braun was there, and Braun walked off, and the camera zoomed in on the limo, like, ooh, what's going to happen? Stephanie and Triple H were in it.
Well, I was going to say, I would have called you out as well. It was a mystery limo with no payoff. Do we know?
I think it was quite clear it was Stephanie and Triple H.
Was it? Is it clear it was? Like it was.
Yeah.
We didn't see anyone. I was like expecting like Vince McMahon to come out or something like that. Like it's a mystery limo.
So I think it was just sloppily done.
Okay.
So it was quite. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was meant to be Stephanie and Triple H because they come out in the next segment. It's how you get people to stay after the break. Why would it be Vince McMahon? No one mentions it on commentary. He doesn't appear in the next segment.
I mean, I said I thought it might be something like. But when you said it's Triple H and Stephanie, I never put those two together because I figured that Trips and Steph had been there all the time. Because they have all these meetings.
They turn up right at the end of the show.
But they
know that.
But they have their meetings with Kurt. And like they always talk about these meetings that they have with Kurt.
On the phone, Skype it.
Yes, it's 2018, man.
Yeah,
technology exists.
I think this was just a case of bad visual storytelling rather than any secret tease. But what a missed opportunity. Braun's there, blinded. Elias is running away out the building into the night. And this limo pulls up. Why not have Triple H get out of the limo and Braun's there? They haven't seen each other since Survivor Series when they had that showdown. Triple H, like, Braun can't really see. Triple H just gets back into the limo until Braun leaves.
Or
I thought it was a real missed opportunity to get everyone over more.
Or gimmick the limo and have Braun smash a window. And pure frustration and anger that Elias's run away, that he just smashes a car window. And then you have, oh my God, he just smashed a car window with his bare hand. I mean, Goldberg...
Flip it.
Well, obviously,
You've got to flip
I mean,
it.
that's Braun's MO, really, isn't it? It's flipping stuff.
He's been really good in the property business. Buy a property, do it up, flip it for more. Yes. Then the main event, which was badly set up by that limo, but the whole night did keep on saying Triple H and Stephanie are going to be here for the main event with Ronda Rousey. It was Stephanie McMahon and Triple H coming out, and they did... We haven't talked about this. How many bloody Elimination Chamber recaps were there?
Oof, I mean, there was 8 minutes worth at the start of the show. 8 minutes worth of recaps.
And then another one here, at least 3 others in the rest of the show.
Yeah.
So, you're probably looking at about 25 minutes of Elimination Chamber recaps in what, after commercial breaks are taken out, is about 2 hours 10 of a show.
But I kind of get it, because Ronda is your big thing at the moment. You're trying to hype up the fact that Ronda's going to be in the 3rd hour of the show, and she's going to be doing a showdown with Triple H and Stephanie. You've got to remember that not everyone is like you and I, on people watching the show that watch the whole 3 hours. There are people who watch an hour here, an hour there, an hour there.
Then all tune out for the 3rd.
And then all tune out for they just tune in for the 2nd hour, and then they didn't see the promo at the start, so that you have to do it again in the 2nd hour to try and capture those people that didn't see it the first time round. I kind of get it, but you're right, it is overkill.
It was overdone, yeah. So Stephanie then said Kurt was delirious from W-monia. W-monia. It's crazy.
It's crazy, man.
And
that beast from the east is getting everyone.
Yeah, but so they said Kurt's going to come out to apologise, but instead out came badass Ronda, who looked badass.
Full of piss and vinegar was Ronda Rousey.
Great.
It was great.
Stormed down to the ring, got in, and Triple H and Stephanie are kind of backing off. Kurt runs down like, whoa, Ronda, don't beat anyone up. It's me, I'm sorry, I need this job. And when he said that, I was just, this isn't the way I would have done this storyline. And it just stinks of the McMahons and the Authority emasculating their Raw GMs. It's exactly the same thing happened with Mick Foley. Just patronising him, undermining him, and not from a way that tells an engaging story where you tell the story of someone just being beaten down, and then they rise up. It's just... No, you're making them look like a worthless idiot.
Pretty much.
That's what they've done to Kurt. It's what they did to Mick Foley. Something needs to change with that quick.
Well, I imagine that after this segment, because as I said, I liked the start of this segment. I did not like the second half of it. Although I thought Ronda's line of I'm just going to take that arm and rip it out of its socket, like that. Just have
Stephanie.
Just have her say like those lines. Just have her just cut very, very small promos. And just say those 1 or 2 lines, because that's when she's at her best. But I'd imagine now after this, with Kurt being sucker punched by Triple H, we're going to, perhaps I'm just being naive here and optimistic, we're going to see a different Kurt next week. We're going to see the Kurt angle of next week that should be like, hey, like they keep trying to mess with me, I'm now going to mess back.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so as well, because Kurt Angle played ball with the Authority here today. He admitted that he lied, doing big air quotes for podcast listeners. And so he's like, last week you asked me to lie, I lied for you, and my reward for that was being punched in the face. So do you know what? To hell with you, to hell with this job. And build that and make Kurt Angle this badass who's alongside badass Ronda Rousey, so they can be a badass tag team for badass WrestleMania.
Yeah, so Ronda, being a badass, demanded an apology from Steph.
Oh, it was great.
And Steph, there's 2 ways you can read this. Steph, started off in her apology, storming up to Ronda, starting off really big and shouty, but then kind of seemed to genuinely get more scared as she was talking and withered. So you could read it like that, or you could read it that it was a completely disingenuous apology and she didn't mean any of it.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done from Stephanie.
Yeah,
the way she went into the apology so forcefully.
Yeah, it works both ways, and I like that.
But then when they were leaving the ring, Triple H just clocked Kurt Angle from out of nowhere and walked off.
Yeah, just punched him straight in the face.
Which was so you didn't like that. Why didn't you like the second half?
Because it felt like a very flat ending. Because Triple H's punch really did come out of nowhere. It was almost like Triple H punched him as he was exiting the ring. Like literally, it's like through the ropes, boof, like that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
When it came out of nowhere. Kurt went down like a sack of spuds. Ronda didn't like get fired up and go after them. So like the heels sort of stood tall once again, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that, to me, coupled with the Elimination Chamber ending with Stephanie slapping Ronda, it just, again, like, I think we need that next week. We need them to get their own on Trips and Steph in order for this to really start to find its feet. So I loved the first half, but the ending was a bit flat for me.
It's time to honour all those lovely people who donated $25 a month or more to our Patreon page, which is helping us get towards our goal of studio internet, better studio internet, so we can do live streams and stuff like that. So thank you very much, you people. If you want to donate yourself and help us along this goal and get loads, Luke, of rewards.
Well, our latest WrestleRamble Extra with us reviewing No Way Out 2004 went live yesterday.
What a show that is.
Yeah, what a show it was.
The first ever Wrestle Club podcast.
Debuts next week.
Yeah, which is like another WrestleRamble, but for non-WWE stuff. We're working it out as we go.
Yeah, we've got some NXT, Ring of Honor, New Japan matches, and hopefully some Evolve and PWG matches as well.
So thank you, Russell Weathers the Storm.
Smoke and a Pancake, Avenir Dutch.
Big Ben Spires.
Let's have a drink, Christopher Travis Mannering. Merriman, sorry.
You're doing a different voice than normal.
Am I?
You sound like you're reporting for duty.
Let's have a drink, Christopher Travis Merriman. Is that better?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll do that again. Gravestone Gary Hockin.
Dead the Pool Warrior.
The Mayor of Painesville, Dan.
Dan! Britain's next top model, Phil Stopford.
Still can't get over that he requested that name. I Hate Mondays, John Mower.
The Stepbrother, Brennan McClough.
We Jaunt Russell.
I think that's meant to be we. Well, I've got it as We Want Russell.
We Want Russell.
Let's all fly Orion Kite.
Killer Chris Phillips.
And the real true heel, Len Bren. It's a SmackDown review, Maggle. I love it. We got us a flying Uso.
SmackDown's okay again.
It's 1 week. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's just 1 week.
Thanks, Road Dog. You're the best, man. It's all down to you. SmackDown kicked off with free agent John Cena turning up and as the new latest member of the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah, so I didn't actually notice this. I think I was too busy making notes. But the Bludgeon Brothers graphic.
Well, I was also making notes. You know, John Cena walks out, blah 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 blah. Blah. And I saw this, because some people have custom little name bars, and I thought that didn't look. That was like a weird brownie color that had sharp edges. What's going on there? So I played it back, and it's Bludgeon Brothers.
Wow,
it's Bludgeon Brothers.
Interesting.
Just a mistake.
I'm sure I'll get picked up on that for not mentioning it in my review.
There will be. Oh, we didn't talk about the guy who got in the shot for Ronda Rousey's segment.
Oh, yeah, poor lad. I mean, we shouldn't really make fun of him because he's probably unemployed now.
Yes, he's probably fired immediately.
Yeah.
So then I've got a note about Corey Graves' hair looking more ridiculous every time I see it.
So amazing.
Then, Cena just cut a promo in the ring about how he's going to do whatever it takes to get to his WrestleMania match, and he wants to be added to the Fatal 5-Way. He says, I'll do whatever it takes to get added to the Fatal 5-Way. I've written, usually it's just turning up.
Well, I was going to say, so John Cena on Monday announced that he was going over to SmackDown for an opportunity to get to WrestleMania. He showed up on SmackDown, he got inserted into the main event, and now he's fighting for the WWE Championship. On the space of 2 hours, I would say, successful move there, John.
Yeah.
This was a really smart plan.
Do you think he thought SmackDown? That is a show that's run by warring idiots at the moment. I can easily manipulate them into this.
Well, I mean, Raw's being run by warring idiots as well, I suppose.
I guess so, but it's not so much of a...
Steph and Trips aren't idiots, though, are they? They're the smartest people.
Curtin, yeah.
Kurt's the idiot.
Good point.
What a doofus he is.
So Shane McMahon comes out. What's up? Anaheim, and I don't know where they were.
And it was I think they were in California this time. Either way, he was...
Enter your hometown here.
He was sweating like a madman.
And he had pointy nipples.
That I didn't notice.
He had pointy nipples.
I only noticed his glistening forehead.
Well, you now can look at his erect areola points. I'm trying to think of another word for nipples.
So you didn't have to say nipple again.
Man teats.
I wonder...
Man points.
I mean, I don't want to go on record here, but this might be the most we've ever said the word nipple on this show.
Nipple, nipple, nipple. So, yes, Shane McMahon comes out. There's a loud "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chant. And John Cena sort of reacts to those, which is nice to interact with the crowd. Says, well, half the people want to see me in it and half the people want to see me lose, so you should probably book it, right? And then there was some Rusev Day chants.
Yeah, duly noted.
Duly noted.
Shane McMahon, you're right there as well, that John Cena sort of like stopped to interact with the crowd and add that line in. But Shane McMahon, boom, straight back to the script. I've got some stuff to say, John. I've learned this, and I'm going to say it.
He says that John would be a 17-time world champion if he won at Fastlane. And that was the first time I've been like, oh no. We're not getting AJ and Nakamura.
Well, they teased it in the show, and I did think to myself, because I was like, I mean, it's AJ and Nakamura, right? Like, every time I kept saying it to myself. And then they did that tease, and I was like, well, I mean, it might be Cena Nakamura, because WWE have they've got record of being like, well, we don't think AJ's a champion enough. Put on John Cena quickly. Yeah. Like, it's happened before.
AJ can get a bigger match with Shane McMahon.
Yeah, put him back with Kevin Owens.
It was a
fine opening segment. Like, I would say that, I mean, Cena hasn't been on SmackDown since August, despite the fact that he was fighting for them at SummerSlam, Survivor Series in November. And it was kind of nice to see a freshish face open up the show. I know it's John Cena and he's been opening up shows now for 20 years, but it was nice.
Yeah, and Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan were there as always.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan was the one who came out and said, well, if you want the Fastlane match, you've got to beat AJ Styles in the main event, which I must admit I was immediately excited for.
Absolutely.
I always love it when those two wrestle.
Yeah.
So Baron Corbin was up next, taking on Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm. Kevin Owens on commentary. Which Shane was not happy about. They were backstage, shown twice during the match, watching the action on a screen. Shane went off and got some popcorn at one point. Right, so Shane's there having a bit of a whinge that, like, he's like, I can't believe you put Kevin Owens out there, who's blatantly going to interfere in this match, because that's what they do. You're all buddy-buddy. Then he goes away and gets popcorn, comes back with this massive smug look on his face. And then in the match, Dolph Ziggler jumped over the barricade and super kicked Kevin Owens so hard in their head, I'm pretty sure he swore loudly.
Yeah.
Because like the audio just cut out for about 5 seconds. And then Zayn got distracted and Baron Corbin hit the end of days and won. And it cuts backstage and Shane McMahon's still got this smug look on his face. I was like, what are you so smug about? Like, did he orchestrate the Ziggler thing?
I didn't think of that until you just said it. Shane is coming off like such an unlikable, arrogant presence.
He's so unlikable.
And Daniel Bryan, even though I think Daniel Bryan's trying to be unlikable. He's just giving short answers. Can I go home now? I want to be with my wife and child. But I'm like, I still love you so much, Daniel Bryan. You're impossible to dislike. Even when you're doing the yes, the yes chant was originally to annoy people.
Yeah.
But Shane McMahon is.
And especially like you say, there's like, can I go home early? He's got really good reasons. Yeah, go home, be with your wife. You're on the road all the time. Go home with being your wife and kid. That's a lovely thing to do.
Well,
what a nice family man.
He only does Tuesdays, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, but in WWE world, in kayfabe, they're on the road all the time, aren't they? Even managers and stuff.
I just thought this was all kind of lame. Although I did like Owens' selling of, but maybe it was legit, because he just crumples off the chair like he's knocked out.
Well, he got kicked in headphones, basically.
Yeah,
that probably really hurt.
Like here.
Yeah. Oh.
Oof. Although these are quite nice and cushioned.
Yeah, but when we
it's gonna hurt. What am I talking about?
I was gonna say, when we do long records, you take these headphones off and go like, oh, me ears.
So yeah, Ziggler took out Corbin afterwards, and then celebrated a babyface. Celebrated with a record scratch and then his music.
He's not a babyface.
What?
He's not a babyface. He's a heel. He attacked AJ at the end of the night. At least I think.
But he saved AJ. He's on the cusp. Whatever he is, get rid of the record scratch, especially when he's not coming out. Oh, that record scratch is doing my head in.
It's such an annoying sound as well. But there was a really funny moment from Byron, and it was perfectly timed as well, because Kevin Owens throughout the entire match is just picking on Byron and being like, "I'm not even listening to you, Byron. I'm not going to acknowledge any of the questions that you've got to say. I'm not even going to acknowledge your presence here." And then just before Ziggler jumped over the barricade, Byron Saxton said like, "Hey Kevin, are you all right?" Boom, super kick to the head, goes down, and Byron goes, "It's not okay now." Good one, Byron.
Great Byron. Great stuff, Byron. Afterwards, Sami is angry, walking around backstage. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn still don't feel like they're together.
Oh, no, I felt like it was back to square one again, that they were just the best friends.
I felt like Kevin Owens was kind of apprehensive on commentary, and afterwards Sami Zayn was blaming him when they're walking around backstage. And they see Shane, and they're angry, and Shane's like, "Yep."
Yeah, Shane said that, hey, if you catch up with Daniel Bryan, you can go and have dinner for him because Bree's probably got it ready for you, suggesting that they always have dinner together because they're all best mates and that. Shane's a dick.
Yeah, he's not coming off as likeable in the slightest.
No.
Next up.
Ruby Riott and Naomi had a match. I've got one note here. Riott wins. And Saxton called Ruby a serious threat, which I respectfully disagree.
I like Ruby. I like
Love
her
Ruby.
wrestling. I like her look. I like her promos. But, it's off the boil.
Yeah.
Whatever they had when they debuted, which was already kind of dead in the water because they debuted the night after they did the exact same thing on Raw with Absolution. It's just now they've been flattened out into a completely one-dimensional storyline for about a month or two now.
It's a real shame.
In fact, they've never really had a proper story since debuting in November, end of November, because it was after Survivor Series. And why are Charlotte and Becky Lynch getting full entrances for a Naomi singles match?
Because WWE is all about entrances and finishes. That's what you pay to see. You pay to see the people do the entrances.
And this match was so orchestrated when Naomi and Ruby are good workers, but the way it was laid out was horrid, where there was a bit right at the start where Naomi was with Charlotte and Becky Lynch and the Riot Squad are over here, and they walked over to each other and they had this really lame face-off commercial, like 10 minutes before it happened. I could see this coming a mile away. Commercial break.
Just for the record, Ollie started off this review by saying that SmackDown's good again.
But it gets good.
It gets good. No.
Carmella's managing the social media lounge as well, backstage. If that counts for anything.
Is there a meme going around about pancakes and waffles? Because when I did the, on the WrestleTalk news, sometimes I say, ask me a question, and if it's in the first 15 minutes, I'll try and answer it. I got a lot of questions that were asking if I like pancakes or waffles. And I was like, that's an odd question to see. Maybe it's a meme that I just don't understand. Maybe it's just randomly.
Could be a sexual thing.
Or it's a sexual thing. Carmella mentioned it here.
Really?
She said, do I like pancakes or waffles? And I was like, maybe it is a meme that I just don't understand.
Do you want to do that thing that you hate that I sometimes want to do, where
don't do
pancakes or
no, because I googled it and I couldn't find. Oh no,
if there's the difference, it's just a difference between.
Oh, I thought that was a meme thing.
No,
no,
there's nothing recent.
No, okay.
Just seems to be a hot button topic.
There you go. Maybe that's what it is.
A lot of listicles. 51 reasons pancakes are better than waffles.
51 reasons.
I love a listicle.
Although, in fairness, though, that is from Pancake God, so I feel like they are very much. That
is a bias report.
That's a bias report.
What are just some of these reasons? When do you ever see stacked waffles? Never. But we need more context there.
Actually,
maybe that's a bad thing.
Stacked waffles, I've seen them right there. The picture
the
at the top.
Picture at the top.
The article is of stacked waffles.
This is from the Pancake God. What is that age-old debate?
And it really was recent. It was February 7th.
Maybe this is maybe the whole thing is off this rubbish article. Everyone has a pan, a waffle iron. That's what I thought. Ball up pancakes and you have some tasty pancake spheres.
Right, anyway, back to SmackDown Live. I will say there was one really nice spot during this Ruby Riott Naomi match, which is when Ruby goes for a kick, Naomi ducks, Naomi goes for a kick, and Ruby ducks, and they both just kick each other in the head.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a nice spot, but aside from that, the match was absolutely nothing.
Yeah, Ruby won with a Riott kick. Who cares?
Yeah, poor Ruby.
Fashion Files kind of backstage next.
I got super excited. The Fashion Files were back on TV for a brief moment just to plug someone else's show, and then some lad walked in who I didn't recognise. Turns out it's Josh Duhamel.
Who?
Is, I believe, in the steroid thing, right?
Yes!
With Reigns.
Like the 3 people who have been named are Roman Reigns, alleged. Roman Reigns, Mark Wahlberg, and Josh Duhamel.
And Ronda's working with Marky Mark at the moment. It's all connected.
But seriously, what a bizarre thing. Like, what a strange coincidence. I'm sure this was planned way in advance because Josh Duhamel has this show that I've never heard of called Unsolved.
But it sounds like it's a
long-running thing.
Like,
yeah.
well, no. I mean, it sounds like it's a fictionalized show, but about the murders of Biggie and Tupac. Which, if it is, I'm quite into that.
That sounds cool.
That sounds cool. I'd watch that show.
This played into quite a very funny joke where they were talking about Big E being Biggie Smalls, but Big E from the New Day were behind him, and that was funny. And then, Breezango their comic delivery and timing is great. But a joke so obvious and simple as, oh, we thought you were a real detective because you play a detective on a show on telly, and now we're sad that you're not a real detective. That's a day one joke.
Yes.
Day one-ish.
Day one-ish.
Whatever.
Day one is H.
And they made it so funny.
They're very good.
They were so funny with it.
Here's a surprise. The Fashion Files are great.
Fandango, Tyler Breeze is funny.
Yeah.
Fandango in particular, God, he is. He's untapped. They could do so much more with him.
I mean, the lads at Gorilla Position once called him the next CM Punk. I wouldn't go that far, but there is a lot of untapped potential in there.
But we go from that backstage thing.
How good was this?
Yes.
This was great.
The New Day showing their comedic side backstage, and their comedic side in the first, I would say, third of this or half of this segment.
Yeah.
When they came out for a live in ring one, and they cut a fun, normal New Day promo.
Yeah.
And they had ladders up on the screen during the entrance. They hyped the Usos match at Fastlane, and then out came the Usos, who, surprise, surprise, cut an incredible promo.
Man alive, this promo ruled. And I was there thinking, I wonder if Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin are going to show up, considering they got screwed 2 weeks in a row out of this championship opportunity. Oh, now I'm saying it. Title match. I'm going to correct myself. But do you know what? I'm kind of glad they didn't, because this promo was just so great. The Usos carry so much passion in their promos. And they say that, we've been a team for 9 years in the WWE. We've never had a WrestleMania match on the main card because they've been on the pre-show quite a couple of times. So anytime that Bradshaw says on those shows where it's like, I think it's a good thing that you get on the pre-show because everyone gets to see you then. Wrestlers don't like it, apparently, because the Usos were very upset that they've not been on the main card.
Probably won't get on the DVD, and then you'll leave the company.
But so, yeah, it was just a great promo. And then it got even better because Big E grabs the microphone. He drops the comedy and just gets right up in their face about how they're not a comedy team. It's like, yeah, we do goofy stuff, but we're the longest reigning tag champs. We've done this, we've done that. We were hosting WrestleMania 31 while you were sat in catering. Oh, there was just so many money lines in there. And then I get a feeling you might disagree here. At the apex, just when this is getting great, Bludgeon Brothers music hits and the mood changes. And it goes from this really intense thing, and you're like, oh, damn, the Bludgeon Brothers are here now, and S word's about to get real. And they just walk down to the ring, and they walk with such purpose, and then they do what they don't usually do, which is don't interact with these other tag teams. They just want to show off their dominance against jobbers. They're not bothered about these other teams, not just yet. They just want to trying to scare everyone. And then they got into the ring, and everyone just scarpered because they don't want to mess with the Bludgeon Brothers. And I thought it was a wicked tonal shift. Every single thing in this, from the comedy at the start to the Usos to Big E's promo to the Bludgeon Brothers, I thought this segment was a home run.
You're totally right. I didn't hate the Bludgeon Brothers coming out. I just wouldn't have done it, I don't think, because you had this wonderful feeling of something real and something genuine. And that's your next match, isn't it? It's the Usos versus New Day. A match that has been done a lot, and I wasn't particularly interested in seeing again, even though I know it's going to be a great match. I feel like, we've been there. But from that incredible Usos to Big E promo, which was just incredible, really, really good. And the great line about New Day having to work from the bottom. We didn't have our daddies helping us out.
Such a great line.
And it was, it felt so real. And all of a sudden, my expectation from this match has shot through the roof, and I really want to see it. And it feels like this is an all-time classic feud. And they just did this in a couple of minutes of promo time. Masterfully done. So when the Bludgeon Brothers came out, that did puncture that little bubble of realness for me with pro wrestling goofiness.
Yeah, I get that.
But I didn't hate it because it is also long-term booking, and I'm always a fan of that. But personally, my personal taste would have been to leave it at just that promo.
Yeah, and I get that, and I think you're right. But I think what I really liked about it is it sets up that scene of just like, so the Usos and the New Day are fighting over the belts, but whoever wins that then has to face the Bludgeon Brothers. And it's almost like the brothers just came out to let them know, hey, whoever wins, you lose, because you're facing us next. And I really like that.
And they brought the hammers into the ring.
Into the ring.
First time.
Oh man, they have got to get those hammers over as like sledgehammer levels of dangerous. Otherwise, they'll just become goofy nonsense.
They're made of fiberglass, mate.
Well, of course they are.
Rusev and
Timmy Mallet.
Aiden English was next backstage with Shane, and Rusev hasn't been on the show since the Royal Rumble.
You cut Dolph's promo.
Have I cut? No, Dolph was after this.
Was it?
But first it was, I'm pretty sure it was Shane McMahon backstage.
I've got it here. Dolph cuts a promo. Bobby Roode cuts a promo. Oh yeah, and then Aiden English versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Maybe I just didn't take notes on that. Sorry, I do apologise.
So yeah, Shane said, well, you're not going to have a match tonight, Rusev, even though he didn't say this bit, even though you're the most over thing in the company, probably. Aiden English is going to have the match. And then we had the Dolph Ziggler promo where he kind of calls out Cena with text on screen.
Yeah, his text on screen was very targeted towards Cena. So, maybe that's Cena's WrestleMania match. It's going to be against Dolph. You want high profile, and you want bigger than the Undertaker. Dolph Ziggler, mate.
Who isn't facing Cena? Maybe this is what it's all building up to. Cena doesn't have any matches, and then he has every single match imaginable.
He has his own gauntlet match.
Yes, for the whole of WrestleMania.
He was sat there talking to Vince. He was like, hey, that Seth kid sort of outshone everyone on Monday a couple of weeks ago. I think I should do that at WrestleMania.
Put me over that way.
Let's put me over.
Bobby Roode next with a promo, which Randy Orton interrupted and said, the US title is the only one that's eluded me in my career. I'm going to go through you to get it.
Yeah, this was a Alan Partridge shrug moment.
Yeah. Happy Rude sucks.
Yep, certainly does. Yeah.
I'm not engaged with him at all.
And this is why my notes confused me, because then we had Aiden English versus Shinsuke Nakamura. So it turns out Rusev Day are still heels.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were so over. Those Rusev Day chants at the beginning were deafening. And Rusev smiling. I love the guy.
He's so great. And then, when they showed the backstage thing, it was earlier today, Shane McMahon spoke with Aiden English. As soon as they appeared on screen, the crowd went, they went nuts, because that meant that Rusev was probably going to be on the show, or Rusev Day. Because I think it's not just Rusev, it's the act together that I'd like to think is over. It is very much Rusev, but I'd like to think that both of them are just as popular.
Yeah.
And then they came out and they sang this song about how their town smells. And I'm like, oh, they're still heels? This is very misguided. Of all the acts to let's just turn them babyface. We don't have to do a babyface angle. They're already babyfaces. But they're not. They're heels still.
Yeah, you do. It's easy to keep the sentiment, but not have them trash the hometown. Just sing a song about Nakamura.
Yeah.
Then that gets around it. Have you heard the quote from Stephanie McMahon's appearance on the Lillian Garcia podcast?
I have not, no.
She said the great thing, one of the best things about her father, Vince McMahon, is that he knows what the audience wants.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's not wrong. Mostly.
So this was an okay match.
Yeah, this was
I quite enjoyed it.
I really like Aiden English, love Shinsuke Nakamura.
I've missed him.
I've missed him, yeah. I really have missed him, actually. But that's the brilliant thing of not putting him on TV every week, is you do miss him wrestling. And so I think that's actually a positive. And it seems to be setting up. I feel like this match was used to set up Nakamura versus Rusev at Fastlane, because neither man have anything going on, so it's a good little program to tie over Nakamura before WrestleMania. However, I would argue, should have done that weeks ago, mate, so we actually could have built a feud around this.
Well, this is the interesting bit, because I thought after Cena's promo on Monday Night Raw that he was going to go over to SmackDown and somehow have a match with Nakamura at Fastlane. Like, I want the I don't know how Nakamura would put up his title shot.
Because he wants to face John Cena.
Yeah, but I hate it when baby faces do that. Unless they're forced to do it by a heel authority. Well, maybe that's the way. But then you need a heel to put it up against. So
they've got one in Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
The biggest heel in the company.
I don't know. So when Nakamura walks out of the match after winning, John Cena comes down for the main event, and they have a ships passing in the night moment, and they both point at the sign. And I was like, well, that's okay. Cena's going to lose the main event, and he has a match with Nakamura at Fastlane. And then after he loses that, and then they set up the Undertaker match, the first show after Fastlane. That's where I thought it was going. But
no, John Cena won. I've done it again. John Cena beat AJ Styles clean as a sheet in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, but I thought it was okay. What did you take against that then?
I didn't take against it, absolutely not. And it really didn't bother me until someone tweeted me just before we came in to record of something that I hadn't actually thought about, which is that in storyline, John Cena is so rubbish that he couldn't get any match at Raw because he kept losing every opportunity that he was given because everyone was better than him. So he went over to SmackDown and beat their champion and is now in the main event of their next pay-per-view. Which is certainly one way to look at it. I didn't read it like that when I was watching the show. I didn't read it like that when I was writing my review. It was only until you see that other perspective, you're like, actually, that's actually quite a fair shout of looking at it. It might not be the way that I look at it, but it's certainly a fair shout.
Yeah, so I look at it as, although I agree that is a fair way, of Cena getting so obsessed with his WrestleMania match that he kind of self-sabotages and in trying to... Because the reason he lost the Seth Rollins match, in my eyes, is because he was so methodical and slow at the start, because he was obsessed with going the gauntlet and last in the distance. But here, I felt Cena has now changed his wrestling style to fit with that Mania obsession. Like, he was working kind of heel almost at times, being really methodical, less showboating, although... I wrote less showboating, and then he literally did a 5-knuckle shuffle with a big grin. And don't do that.
Yeah, delete that note.
But then they had a really good match, I thought. But where it's okay for me is there was a spot, I think, so Cena hit the AA, and he did the roll through to hit a second AA, but AJ got out the ring. Cena runs out the ring and goes to tackle AJ. AJ moves. Cena runs straight into the steel steps. And AJ could try and win by count out here, but he stops it and says, "No ref, want to beat him fair and square," in the middle of the ring. Cena then puts AJ through the table the commentator's table with an AA. Cena is content with winning by count out.
I loved that moment.
That was great. So AJ just been put through a table, and then he gets back in, and then after a few bits he loses. So that's why I think AJ's protected there, because Cena kind of, took the shortcut route.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I think it's very good subtle storytelling, but I can see why people wouldn't like it also.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I loved that moment of him, of AJ stopping the count, because the commentator said, and I think it was Corey Graves said, AJ could take the count out and win here. Yeah. And then, as soon as he said that, AJ saw the referee stop counting. I want to win this in the middle of the ring. Goes out and gets put at the table. Cena instantly gets back into the ring and is start counting. Oh, it was such a great moment for Cena. And then he was just sat there trying to catch his breath, trying to recover. And then when AJ got back in at 9, the look on Cena's face was just I thought that would work.
Yeah, yelled out, "Oh, come on!" That, frustrated. What a brilliant moment when AJ was through the table and he used a fan's hand to get himself back up.
Brilliant. So good.
Really like that.
Yeah. That fan could have been a real knob and let go.
Yeah, push him down. So
heel turn.
Cena reversed a calf crusher into the AA
Great
for
reversal.
a win. Yep, really inventive. And then the heels, everyone was kept coming backstage, the people watching the match at various ridiculous angles, apart from Baron.
Baron knows how to watch a TV. Yeah.
Which made me think, why don't you just show people watching stuff backstage in a replay? Because, like when they shrink down the screens and you've got a dual screen. Because the reason for having them watch at such an obtuse angle is so you can see, so the audience can see the screen as well.
Yeah, it's so we as an audience can see that they're watching the match, because WWE are worried that we're complete morons, that they might be watching another channel. They might have just loaded up Netflix to watch Stranger Things.
Or just so the audience can keep up with the action.
Oh, right. I'd never really thought of it that way.
That's how I always thought of it.
I thought they were just doing it because I'm never watching the screen. I'm watching the people watch the screen.
But you can get the same thing with a dual screen replay graphic.
Yeah.
So
but they're not here to make
quick fix.
They're not here to make wrestling shows, Ollie. They're here to make movies. And that's how people watch movies and TV.
So the heels ran out, which is Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Baron Corbin, because heels, and they beat up Cena and AJ until Dolph Ziggler ran out and fought them off. And the babyface is celebrated when apparently someone says 20 seconds to Dolph. And Dolph hastily attacks AJ. And Cena quickly AA's
I was going to
Ziggler.
say, because I think there was an extra... I think he laid out AJ as well, Cena.
Yeah.
Because I was going through the WWE.com photos for the review, and I found the picture of AJ giving the AA to Dolph, and I was like, there's one more image here. I went back, and it was Cena hitting a big move on AJ, and I was like, they must have run short on time.
Yeah, which is weird for SmackDown, because usually it finishes, and then there's four minutes of Randy Orton posing in the ring.
Yeah.
So an okay episode of SmackDown, but compared to how it's been this year, a freaking incredible episode of SmackDown with a really good tag promo segment. I love the main event. Thought it was really good. I like having Nakamura back.
Yeah, same here.
First half of the show wasn't that great. But yes, overall, who do you think won?
It's tough because, as I said, Raw was a tale of two halves in most of the segments, but I love that Roman bit, and I really like Ronda on the show. And Seth was awesome. Yeah, that Seth Miz match was really great. And despite the fact that there was issues with it, I liked the bit when Bayley jumped off the apron. I wish it had actually played into something, but I liked it. But I think I'm going to go SmackDown this week.
No way.
I think so. Are you going Raw?
I'm going Raw. I'm so hard on on Monday Night Rollins.
I can see.
Damn it.
That's it now.
Gonna Google these pictures after this.
No one, a very small percentage of this audience makes it through to this point. But that's all the comments now are going to be everyone linking to you saying, so hard for Rollins right now.
So hard for Well, we've clicked the videos that have just appeared on our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk news and WrestleRamble.
If a video can even go over your lap.
It might be a little bit further up, mightn't it? Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to the podcast. Pledge on Patreon. This has been Luke Owen. I've been Ollie Davis. And that was Rambling.